While we're on the subject of disappointing wide receivers, I think we got to talk about Keenan Allen here because at the beginning of the year, I thought that his lack of production was sort of due to the fact that there was like a passing of the torch and that Big Mike Will was full blown in the middle of his fifth year breakout. And, Mike Will was transitioning into being a stone cold elite alpha wide receiver one. And that was the cause of Keenan Allen's dip in production. But I don't think that anymore. I'm starting to think that Keenan Allen might just be dust. He might be washed. Because in week 6, Mike Williams, still dealing with an injury, only played on 36% of snaps. The Chargers were down this entire game from jump. Perfect game script for Keenan Allen to feast, get a bunch of targets, and comeback mode for the Chargers. And yet he finishes with 5 catches on 5 targets for 50 yards. He had one more target than Josh Palmer. He was not being utilized, and it's just absolutely disgraceful what we're seeing with Keenan Allen here. I don't know what excuse we could possibly give him. I don't know. Like what are we seeing here with Keenan Allen?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Keenan Allen. And up to this point, he's gotten targets, right? Like, he was one of the most targeted receivers in the NFL up to week 6. And his floor, I think, is still pretty solid. He hasn't scored less than 10 points in a game this season, but the upside just hasn't been there as we've seen in recent years. He only has 1 touchdown. Mike Williams, like you said, is kind of taken over as the alpha in that offense, and maybe his lack of production is because it is a new offense, new head coach and whatnot, and they're not utilizing him in the same way they did before where he was an elite fantasy receiver. But God, I mean, he's just been disappointing to start this season, and I'm hopeful that it can turn around. This is still one of the better teams in the NFL, one of the better offenses with Justin Herbert at the helm, but it's definitely something to monitor moving forward, and I probably would trade him if you could, snake a top end receiver for him, like a Calvin Ridley or something like that. I don't know who you could get for him, but if you can get like more touchdown upside at your wide receiver in terms of trade partner, I would look to trade Keenan Allen.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to all the people who roasted us for saying that Mike Will was the wide receiver one in LA at this point.
I mean, it's clear cut.
Looking to be very clear cut.
It's clear cut.